Welcome everyone to Political Paradigm. I'm Terry Ikumi. Well, today I'll be speaking with one of the oldest members of the People's Democratic Party who has insisted that he will fight for the party till the end. Honorable Fredrick Agbedi, who represents Ekeremo Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. And for the purpose of our conversation, let me reel out Honorable Fredrick Agbedi's political history. Now, he is a former Bayelsa State Chairman of the People's Democratic Party and has been in the party since 2000. He was first elected to the National Assembly in the Third Republic in 1992, representing Sagbama Ekeremo Federal Constituency. He also served as Local Government Secretary of the National Republican Convention, NRC, then of Rivers State. And as far as the Fourth Republic is concerned, Honorable Agbedi has been in the House of Representatives since 2015 and is now the chairman of the People's Democratic Party caucus in the House of Representatives. Honorable, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure meeting you for the first time on set.
On set, yeah, but we'll meet in National Assembly.
Yeah, sure.
I'm honored to have you here, I must say. I think we will just begin with what happened at your secretariats. It was quite disturbing to the point that police had to come the following day and cordon off the entire area. I'm not sure if it has been, the barricades have been removed, but you were there and we were supposed to have a conversation on this on that day, but you couldn't leave the Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party because of the tense situation. So let's hear firsthand from you what exactly happened on that day.
Well, let me put it this way. We came back from the Ibadan Convention. And before we went on the Ibadan Convention, while His Excellency Ambassador Ili Adamangu held sway as the national chairman of the party, there were aggressors who came to Wadata Plaza as well as Legacy House, vandalized it and had forceful entry into the property of the People's Democratic Party, who were not saddled with leadership of the party at the time. And because the party was concentrated in ensuring that the Ibadan Convention, was successful, the party moved on to Ibadan, elected new officers of the party, in which S.A.N. Turaki was elected as the national chairman. And on return from Ibadan, it became clear that the new officials of the party needed to start work at Wadata House, which is the headquarters of the PDP. And that was what took us, as supporters of the new executive, that took us to Wadata Plaza. We got there and we saw quite a massive number of police. And then we also told that some people were occupying the Legacy, the Wadata House, meetings were going on. And we said, well, we don't know who are the people. So we had to also, gain access into the property. And that was what happened. And at our arrival, I know that those people who were there, for whatever reason they were, had to leave.
They were forcefully removed because we saw.
Well, I don't know whether it was forcefully or not, but of course, I'm sure that they too also realized that the legitimate authority that is supposed to occupy that office, had come. And of course, if you know that it's not your place to be there, of course, in whatever way, you should be able to vacate for the elected officers of the party. Police was there, and so we couldn't have forcefully, taken them out when the law enforcement agencies were there. Well, but the fact remains that if you know that a convention of the party held, officers were elected, they had come to carry out their official functions in the secretariat, you have to be able to prove why you are there and whether the reason for which you are there is tenable.
There are concerns around the legalities of everything. It's now been factionalized. But before we talk about the legality of everything, I want to deal with the issue of the standoff at Wadata House once and for all. Because we saw a clash of security agencies. Your people came with security, the other side came with their own security, and it was a very tense situation. Yeah. And some said that lives were at risk at the time because you had guns being brandished left, right, and center. Yeah. My correspondent was shot with a tear gas canister on the foot, and it was a dangerous situation. Yeah. So let me ask you, because in situations like this, you expect that the security agencies would do the right thing, handle the situation as professionally as possible, and de-escalate as much as they can. Is that what you saw at Wadata House?
Well, for me, I would say that the security agencies did their best to ensure that the carnage was reduced. Because before Turaki, our national chairman, and members of the working committee and other stakeholders went to Wadata House, they had first visited the commissioner of police of the FCT and intimated him of the meetings that they were going to hold and their desire to resume office at the Wadata House of the PDP the next day. And so there was nothing they did that was not on record. So the police was aware that we were going. And we went in that regard. And so there were no two different caches of policemen or security men there. Of course, some of the people who went there have their own security. And so if I have a security attached to me and I'm going for a meeting, wherever, and if it's my detail, of course he will go with me. So that was not an issue. But the fact was that there was FCT police on ground who maintained the peace. And if there was a situation where there are two bodies, of course, once in a while, they could take certain actions to reduce whatever friction that was going to happen. And that was the carnage of tear gases that were, like the Bauchi State, either the Bauchi State governor or our national chairman said, over 50 cans of tear gases, were shot, were released. I know that my colleague's car windscreen was also broken by one of those tear gas canisters. So whatever it was intended to bring peace on both sides and ensure that, yes, and I'm sure that at the end of the day, we were able to achieve our purpose.
Should I say now that you welcome the barricading of the PDP headquarters by the police?
Our national chairman did say that we are the legitimate occupants, officers to operate in this secretariat. If for any reason the security officers feels that they should cordon it off, then they should not allow an illegal team to have access to that secretariat. And so it was not as if, a national chairman was insisting that if I don't occupy this place, then the heavens were going to fall. No, but that for an illegal people who parade themselves, to be officers of the party who are not, to occupy the party secretariat was an aberration. And so if government says there's threat to peace, and so we don't want anybody to access the secretariat, it's understandable. Well, when these issues are resolved, of course, the legitimate officers of the party will access the secretariat.
Well, what is the conversation ongoing to remove those barricades?
Well, of course, I won't be in a position to speak about the conversations that are ongoing. But I know that we have a national chairman. I know that we have a national working committee. They will be on top of the matter to ensure that they resume their duties, and carry out their duties from the PDP secretariat.
So the reason I ask that is that since that barricading happened, a lot of people have been raising questions as to if this was a decision by the government and the police to restore peace, law and order in that area at Wadata House, or was the police called in by one of the factions to do that?
Well, whatever it is, our suspicion, first of all, could be that the police was called by a faction. Of course,
but not yours.
Of course, no. We went to the police. We reported. The national chairman reported that the next day we're going to resume duties and have meetings at the national secretariat. And so we had access. We had access. Whoever that called them, if you didn't call them with a good intention, then that is wrong. But government has the duty, the responsibility at some point when there's threats to breach of the peace. To say, okay, gentlemen, resolve your issues. we will, condone up this place, for in between the period that you are resolving issues so that the legitimate group will occupy. I don't think that we have any problem with that. But what the national chairman insisted is that if I don't have access as the elected chairman, if we, the National Working Committee of the PDP, don't have access, then there's no other body that should have access to that sector. And that's a basic, valid argument as far as I'm concerned.
Very well, then. There's another comment by the chairman that's been called to question. Him calling on the United States to intervene in Nigeria's democracy has been seen as a dangerous move because Nigeria is a sovereign country, especially in the light of this concern around Christian genocide back and forth and the U.S. threatening to invade, calling the United States for a political party affair to intervene. Do you think that comment stands, or is this something that is regrettable? It stands.
It's a valid comment. It is not a comment that was made by PDP in Nigeria first. It was made by those who were in government when they wanted to access power. They did everything they could do to ensure that the United States and other nations, interfered with the politics of this country. And you remember when Hillary Clinton came to this country at the eve of elections. You remember the role of Obama, in the politics of this country. And so the national chairman was only saying that certain things that are happening in this country appears to be a threat to democracy in a country that is the largest black population country, African country. And so please ensure that this does not happen. Because any crisis in Nigeria will spill the over 230 million people across the world. And the challenge the world would have to contend with. And democracy is about contest. Democracy is about election. Democracy is about, agitating and promoting the tenets of democracy. So any signal that goes to show that there is threat to the tenets of democracy, of course, the world is a global village. I know the chairman was right in calling for the international community to ensure that the government on ground, the government of today, was advised to ensure that they respect democracy and human rights.
Help us understand if this is not a PDP problem, because it would seem that the players in this situation are all members of the People's Democratic Party, except we could always talk about those that have been expelled.
It was not a PDP problem.
It wasn't?
Yes. Why is it not a PDP problem? An officer, an appointee of government, was running a personal democratic party. That is where the problem was coming from. And if the government is alive to our responsibility, the government is supposed to call our appointee to order. Call that particular appointee to order. That if you want to have activities in your party, please do it within the ambits of the law. But once you are not doing it within the ambits of the law, it therefore means that your master, your paymaster, is in support of what you are doing. And that is the point. So it's beyond the PDP.
Yes, but
when you use the police, against the PDP, when you shut down the party secretariat by yourself against the party, it is beyond that officer of government. It means that his principal has a tacit approval of the actions that is taken. And that is why our national chairman had to invite the world to come and see the extent of threat that is being unleashed on democracy in Nigeria.
Now, when you say that you expect the government of the day to call this individual to order, in this case, Mr. Nyesom Wike, who works for the government, to order.
Yes.
What are you not indirectly saying that the government should interfere in the People's Democratic Party issue? Because he is not, to the best of our knowledge, acting outside the People's Democratic Party, apart from perhaps using his office as minister to leverage on certain security options that he has. But you want the government of the day to interfere in the issues of the PDP by calling him to order. Would that not be the irony of it?
How do you leverage? How do you leverage? By using the FCT police to going to take over a secretariat of a registered party, the biggest party.
One second, Honorable, is it a given that it was the FCT minister who used the police?
It's the FCT police.
But I thought you said that you had reached the police FCT police commissioner.
No, I started by telling you that before we went for the convention, when His Excellency Ambassador Damagu was on the saddle, there was an attack on the party secretariat, aided by the police, and took over both the Wadata Plaza and the Legacy House. That was the genesis of what you saw on Tuesday. And so when the new elected national executive came, they had to go to the police, the FCT police, to say, we have meeting, our inaugural meeting at the Wadata Plaza, and so we'll be resuming at the Wadata Plaza on Tuesday, and so we are coming to give you that report. Before they got there, the secretariat was under siege again. So who was doing that?
Well, what we heard was that the Anyanwu faction had announced a meeting at the secretariat, and then your faction, knowing that there would be a meeting there, chose to announce an emergency meeting. Some would say that that was a recipe for disaster.
Interestingly, Terry, we easily create factions, don't we? And that's why we're talking about factions. First, where are the factions? When a national working committee, 19 people, and 14 people suspended 4 people of that working committee, is that not a valid action? Valid in the sense that you must be, the most a law can provide is 2/3. If 2/3 says that your actions against this party can no longer be tolerated, and so disciplinary action is taken against you, what you do is to go to court to challenge that action. Once you parade yourself as above the law, it amounts to self-help.
But Honorable,
it amounts to self-help. That's one.
On that. But your constitution says that a disciplinary committee should be set up.
Yes.
And the individual or individuals should be informed of the offense that they are alleged to have committed.
Yes.
And that they would be given a chance to defend themselves before this expulsion.
The law of suspension, even in the civil service, is when you are suspended for a period of time, your suspension is recommended to the disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee will invite you to substantiate these allegations. You defend yourself. If you are able to defend yourself, the disciplinary committee will recommend for the lifting of that suspension. If you are found guilty by the disciplinary committee, they will recommend for a possible stiffer action or further action. So once you are suspended, you don't say, I am not suspended.
No, I'm saying, like I did, I quoted your constitution.
Yes.
And said that your constitution provides for certain procedures.
The procedure is, if you are found wanting, the particular structure of party will take a decision as to. And then when you are suspended, you are further recommended. 1 month, you are recommended to appear. Yes, that was done. You are now further recommended to appear before the disciplinary committee. And so the first suspension, in the first instance, is 1 month. Within that period, you are supposed to appear before the disciplinary committee.
When was the suspension issued?
When was the suspension issued?
The initial suspension.
It was issued before the convention.
And the disciplinary committee meets with them and then make a recommendation.
Let me also tell you this. When they are recommended to the disciplinary committee will invite you. The disciplinary committee will invite you. If you answer to their call, you'll be able to resolve
Honorable,
your issue.
I want,
Listen,
I want us
listen.
not to talk
Yes.
about
Yes.
what should be.
Yes.
Let's talk about what exactly happened.
Of course.
Disciplinary
But
committee?
why I'm saying what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that I'm not a member of the disciplinary committee. Okay? So it's the disciplinary committee that is going to tell you the steps that they have taken. You know, for the National Convention to now expel these people, the disciplinary committee must have, initiated their
but
process.
did they do that?
So they are the ones
because
that...
at that convention, Honorable,
Yes.
we did not hear the report of the disciplinary committee.
The report of the disciplinary committee goes to the working committee.
Yeah, but
It goes to the working committee.
It was a motion for expulsion.
Yes, it goes to the working committee. Once the working committee adopts the recommendation, the convention can go ahead with a motion to deal with the issue.
Were these individuals served with this notice? Were they invited by the disciplinary committee, and did they decline to attend? And then what is this report of the disciplinary committee, and how is it not available?
And that is why I told you that if I'm not a member of the disciplinary committee, I will not sit here to be talking about.
But you're a
action.
top-ranking member. You would have the information.
No.
Yeah.
I have my responsibilities cut out.
Yes.
The disciplinary committee has their responsibilities cut out. You don't discuss a committee's report when you are not a member of the committee.
But the
when you
report
don't know the process.
But you would know the content of the committee's report.
They are supposed to present their report to the National Working Committee. It's the National Working Committee that is going to further action that report for the convention to deal with the recommendations. And that is what happened.
You know, at the convention,
Yes.
it was expected that the report of the disciplinary committee would be made known to members because the members voted on this expulsion that we're talking about.
Yes.
So clearly, it almost suggests that they voted not knowing what exactly the committee had recommended because it was just a motion.
The motion, the way we hold our meetings, a motion comes from the working committee. Okay? Once the working committee decides on an action, the working committee can cause for that motion to be moved. The voting is the approval or disapproval of that motion. And that was what happened in the convention.
I need you to help us clarify something because we're trying to make sure that we're on the right side of the law.
Fine.
When you talk, we both know about the issue of faction, and faction here and there has become a thing in our political space. But help us understand why, as media, we should refer or legally recognize the National Working Committee as it is now, considering the court orders that prevented that convention from holding.
Yes. What about the court orders?
No, I'm saying help us understand it.
Okay. Look at it this way. One, there are court actions that says you should not go on. INEC should not also participate.
Monitor, yes.
There are also other court orders that says go ahead. INEC participate. The simple summary of it is that none of us should be talking about it. At the end of the convention, all parties will go back to the court. It is the court that is going to determine whether your action was right or your action was wrong. It is not for us to descend to self-help, because most of the things we are saying and doing are self-help. Take, for example, you went to court, and the court says the convention should not hold for these reasons. You went ahead to appoint an acting chairman. Self-help. You went ahead to appoint BOT. Self-help. Meanwhile, you went to court. Why don't you wait for the court to decide at appeal level, at Supreme Court level, that this is what, and so your petition succeeds? You have jettisoned that. Rather, you went further to take further actions to help yourself stand as a faction. Then, you are no longer relying on the court that you went for arbitration. For us at the National Convention, we relied on whatever that we relied on to conduct the convention. We have come back. So we will face the litigation. That is the way to go. It is not to say, no, INEC was not there. Oh, no, I wasn't. INEC was there. Oh, this was there. This was not. That is not an issue.
Was INEC there?
It is the courts that we're going to determine
vulnerable.
that. Because INEC itself, when you sue them, they will be able to determine whether they had the right to be there or not.
But was
it
INEC...
is not for, if it is not, no.
So INEC was not at the convention?
That is your perspective.
No, I'm asking.
Listen, what I'm saying is, INEC was there, INEC was not there. It's a perspective. It is not for an individual.
I'm not
it
speaking,
is not for... No, you have to understand the point I'm coming from.
I completely understand your point.
No, you seem not to understand. You seem not to understand. What I'm saying is that INEC was there or not there. It's an issue for determination. So we shouldn't be the ones who should be fanning that embers. It is a matter for determination, because that amounts to the validity. As far as I'm concerned, and as a member of NEC, INEC was duly notified.
But did they show up?
INEC, I don't know about that.
You would know.
It's you that is saying.
Wait, 1 second.
It's you that is saying that they didn't show up. Let me tell you.
One second, Honorable. Let me land on this. You would know if INEC monitors your convention or not.
Yes.
I'd like to believe so.
Oh, of course.
Did INEC monitor the convention?
For us who held the convention, we believe that.
No, you notified INEC.
No,
yes. INEC was duly notified, but did INEC monitor the convention?
Listen, it is not the duty of all in the convention to determine whether INEC was there or not there. It is not the duty of party members to determine.
Do you know why I'm asking the question?
Let me tell you. INEC participated at least thrice in the NEC meetings leading to the convention. Members of NEC signed INEC's register for the convention. And so every process as to INEC being there was fully satisfied.
And it was up to INEC to show
Yes. But meanwhile, while the law provides that INEC must be duly informed, the law does not provide that you must ferry INEC to the venue. So our duty as a party is first to satisfy the criteria that INEC should be duly notified within the period, which the party has done. We are the ones who have become judges and lawyers for ourselves. All these issues will be resolved at the courts. So why are we doing self-help? You are doing self-help to appoint acting chairman when you went to court. You are doing self-help to appoint BOT when you went to court. Why are you not waiting for the court? We are ready.
Okay, so basically your faction will not go to court.
We are not a faction. Damangu was the chairman. Ambassador Ilya Damangu was the chairman. There was no dispute as to his being chairman of the party up to the convention and at the convention. So there's nothing like...
how did the convention go? I recall that Senator Sam Mayo in an interview with my colleague had said that 19 states did not participate in that convention. I also know that you only had 2 governors, if I recall correctly, at that convention. How would you assess such a convention?
These are the funny conclusions. These are the self-help conclusions that we are drawing. When you go to court, you will adduce your evidence. The others will adduce their evidence.
I'm not even looking at
Listen. If you were there, Channels was there.
Yes.
You relayed the convention live. You saw the number of governors that were there. Even from the point where we are hoisting the flags. I hoisted the flag for the House of Reps PDP caucus. Okay? You saw the governors who stood at the platform to hoist flags to set off the the convention. And then somebody, sits down in his house to say it's only 2 governors, assuming that we didn't have governors. We have manufactured governors to be there. Assuming that all the governors say they are leaving the party, do we need to manufacture governors to be there?
There are governors that have not left the party.
Yes.
Who did not show up.
Yes.
For the convention.
Yes.
And their followers, their supporters, cumulatively, did not show up for the convention. What does this say the optics of that convention?
See, that itself, Terry Kumi, is wrong. Let me tell you. Any governor who didn't show up was going to APC. Take, for example, Taraba. Okay, within the period he was going to APC. Osun governor was not there, but his deputy was there. Okay, so is he Rivers State? Is he
Rivers State was not there either.
The party is not worried about governors who are going, because that's their decision. That's their decision. We want our party, whether all the governors are leaving or 2 are remaining, 3 are remaining. For us, whoever that remains in the party, whether it is the carcass of the party that is left, allow us to rebuild our party.
But let me ask you a question, Honorable, with regard to this convention as well, because I also recall that in the interview with Senator Anyanwu, he had said that the reconciliation committee set up by the National Working Committee had also proposed that the convention be postponed.
I am a member of leadership, and I can tell you that Thursday to the Saturday-Sunday convention, we had leadership meeting presided over by the chairman, Ilia Demango, and there was no such report before us. So if he generated a report and put it in the media space, that is his report. That is his report.
So the Reconciliation Committee did not propose a postponement.
It did not come before. It did not come before caucus. I was in the caucus. I was in the meeting.
So there was no report.
There was no such report. Such discussion did not come before caucus.
But how then do you respond to those who say that the PDP should have sorted out the reconciliation process before embarking on this convention?
What is the reconciliation you are talking about? When you talk about reconciliation, you are talking about people who are grieved. Who are the people who are grieved? The people who are suspended?
Now
the people who were suspended at that time knows what steps to take. Ask them. Have they taken those steps? Or did they take those steps? If you take the right steps, this party has suspended me some time ago. Okay? And as state chairman, I had to appear before the National Disciplinary Committee. I appeared with my lawyers, defended myself. You understand? And then my report was put to vote in NEC. And it failed. So what are we talking about? There are processes, there are procedures. So if you abandon, if you jettison the procedure and decide to do self-help and begin to create an empire of your own, then you are on a sojourn journey to no end. But if you follow the procedures, you are going to resolve your issues. They never followed procedure. Rather, they resorted to self-help. And Nigerians seem to be seeing the self-help as a faction. That is the unfortunate situation we are. Instead of Nigerians to say, no, this your self-help cannot help you, follow due process. Then some Nigerians are saying, oh, you are factions. We don't have faction. It amounts to self. They are the people who went to court. First, even the Ibadan case, it's people that went to court against the party. It's not the party that went to court. So they that went to court, why are they trying to help the court to implement what the court didn't send them? Sule Lamido said he was denied purchasing
a chance
the form.
to purchase the form, yes.
Purchase the form. He has to establish it. He said a single form was sold. But people contested the election. The chairmanship was not a single form. Okay? The national chairman, Ilia Damagu, at that time had also clearly stated that there is a period within which those who want to contest are supposed to purchase forms. Nobody will open the purchase for one individual. It will be for all those who are interested. So if at the time forms were purchased, 2 people purchase the forms before it closed, then of course they will not open it because one person says, I want to contest. If you open it for someone yesterday, you have to open it for someone again today. Which means you don't have a law guiding the process.
We've been hearing things with regard to conditions for peace to reign in the People's Democratic Party quite recently. The most disturbing one is, I think a member of the party saying, and this I think I heard the Bauchi State Governor say the same thing, that the FCT minister said the party should not present a candidate for the 2027 presidential election, and that's the condition for peace to reign. Have you heard that? And is that...
I heard so, yes.
And that's true?
Of course. Has he denied it?
Your party has less than 2 years to put its house in order before the 2027 presidential election.
Yes.
Do you think that could be a reason?
We have confidence in this leadership, and certainly they are going to achieve that.
And you've also lost quite a number of strong members of your party, including the former presidential candidate of your party, 2-time presidential candidate of your party, Atiku Abubakar. He's now left. So a lot of people have walked away from your party. Some would say perhaps that's a pointer to concerns around fielding a presidential candidate.
It's their choice to exit. And you can't stop anybody's decision to exit. Those who says we are staying back in the party, we are ready to organize our party and prepare for 2027. So if you have left, stay where you are. If the need arises for you to come back, because we didn't chase you out, we will receive you if you are coming with good intentions. We are ready to reorganize our party. We have confidence in the new national chairman and his national working committee, and we're sure that we will be one of the parties in serious contention for 2027.
You know, your party is really running thin, and there are those who would look at your party now and say that those who should have stayed back to fight for the party chose instead to walk away and join the APC, and now the conversation of a one-party state capture is rife. Do you think that the governors who have walked away from your party should have stayed to fight for the party?
Of course, that's what they should have done. But if they chose not to stay and fight for the party, what will you do? What will you do? There are so many other Nigerians. There are other Nigerians who are still coming back to the PDP. There are other Nigerians who are joining the PDP. It depends on how you prepare yourself for the next battle. You know, in 2023, where was Labour Party? One man became flag bearer of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. And of course, you saw the upset that happened in 2023. And so this is not about Fred Agbedi. He's the only one that can make PDP be what it should be. No. When those who remain, no matter the number, if they are prepared to run a race and put their acts together, you'll be shocked what is going to happen. And for PDP, we are ready because we are the biggest party. Even if we are opposition now, PDP is the party Nigerians know.
Would you welcome Peter Obi to fight for the ticket of your party?
I can
considering
tell you,
that he is, I dare say, neither here nor there in terms of political politics.
No, I can tell you confidently that we are not against anybody. We are not against anybody. We are ready to lead the opposition. The present national chairman and the national working committee is ready to lead the opposition. What is important is creating an alternative, creating a platform for Nigerians to cast their vote. And PDP is ready to do just that.
Honorable, as chairman of the PDP Reps Caucus, I want to find out from you how this whole national issue is affecting the caucus. I dare say that you're struggling with it because within the party, especially in the House of Representatives, we know those who are loyal to the FCT minister. So what's the situation?
We are dealing with that situation. Of course, there is no way you will have people within the house who are not loyal to that circle, that things will be rosy. No. And so what we are doing is to be taking adequate steps to ensure that you are either loyal to the party or, of course,
You leave.
that's what it is.
But why haven't you left? You know, people are fighting for political survival. And those who are leaving are either leaving because they're governors. Your governor has left. Why haven't you left the People's Democratic Party?
My governor is the governor of the state. I am a member of the party. I also lead the caucus of the House of Reps of the PDP. So why should I abandon the ship that I'm steering? Why? Is it because people want to destroy it? If people want to destroy it, I should stand up to that fight. Is it because people are leaving? If people are leaving, I should be able to stop the leaving of people of the party. If I am a leader in the party, I should work to ensure that I reverse the negatives of the party. Leaving is not a solution. Because let me give you this example. Professor Wole Soyinka wrote a play, The Strong Breed. In that play, there is a particular community and a particular family in that community that a member of the family is sacrificed every year for the progress, development, peace of that community. And the community respects that family. The community holds that family in high esteem. Whatever they want, the community provides. It got to a point that it was someone's turn of that family to die for the community. And he ran from the community. Not knowing the community went to settle those same sacrifice, but with a non-indigenous, with a stranger. And when a stranger is used to sacrifice in that community, no honor goes to his wife, no honor goes to his children. He is not even spoken about. That was the community, unfortunately, he ran to. And in that community, he was sacrificed for the development of the community. So he lost everything. The honor he would have had in his family, he lost. So, I am not one of those who will run away. Rather than standing up to build my party, I should be running to Soko. People built that party. Today, the president you have was left with Lagos. He used Lagos to negotiate with all the parties. And today, is he not in majority? Is he not the president? So why would you run from a house that you built? And that is why some of us will never run. Let me also use this opportunity to tell you that I have never gone to House of Reps as a majority party. From 1992, that President Tinubu as a senator and myself as a House of Reps member were elected to National Assembly, I went as an opposition party. So in the National Assembly that I'm a member, I keep saying I don't know what the majority enjoys. I don't know, and I'm not interested.
I've heard.
But you have to prove yourself.
Absolutely.
That is the most important thing.
I've heard quite a number of lawmakers say that the reason for them leaving the party is because of the situation now and the legality surrounding it, that the concerns around who will sign your form and who will INEC recognize back and forth. I remember Honorable Bagos had said something like that because he said he lost his seat in the House of Representatives over a state affair. And this is a national affair, and it's even worse to him. You're not worried about who will sign your form?
Over a state affair. The same thing that made him lose his position. What happened to the governor? And so when you are talking about individuals and situation, you look back at yourself. What was your boss doing to salvage that situation? But he salvaged himself. Something is wrong somewhere. Let me end it that way.
I'd like to ask you about the South-South, because we've always known the South-South to be the stronghold of the People's Democratic Party. And now we're walking into an election in 2027 where the South-South is turning into an APC party. What does this say about governance in that region? And I say this because most of the governors who are leaving from the South-South say, southern parts completely say, that it's because of alignment with the center. Let's believe that it's not about political survival and that it's about alignment with the center. Look at the South-South under the PDP in the past, since we returned to democracy. And then compared to what you expect the South, what could possibly happen with these governors aligning with the center going forward for the South-South?
I can tell you that the 2027 elections will determine whether actually the South-South has been aligned to the national by the governors or that they were not aligned. The results of that election is going to show. Let me also tell you this. When you say South-South is APC, South-South did not become APC by mandate of votes. It is by decision of leaders who decided that we are going to APC. That is their decision. They may have their reasons. They may argue their reasons. Their reasons may be tenable. But the reasons can only be tenable, one, when the people see the extent of benefit that they derive within these 2 years. And take note, just 1 year we'll be going into elections. So the people will assess this realignment and the benefits that follows. And then the people will determine whether they are giving approval to this realignment or not. That will be the result of the elections in 2027. So for me, it is not a time to begin to draw conclusions that yes, we have aligned and benefit. The South-South did not join the APC by mandate of votes. It is by defection. And the people had no referendum where they said, no, we should go to APC. No.
Well, that sounds...
There's no referendum.
That sounds...
Or there was no referendum.
That sounds tenable, but we're in a country where politicians talk about political structures to win elections. And that is why they say governors are very powerful, because they control... In
our Nigerian politics,
exactly,
yes, those who are in power are very powerful.
Let's use your state, for example.
Yeah.
Are you confidently saying that despite the governor moving to the APC, that by 2027, the APC still doesn't stand a chance of winning in Bayelsa State? That
will be the decision of the people. Not for me to say that is what the people will do. And that is why I said the results of the 2027 election is what is going to show whether that movement was a referendum of the people to move or not. Is the election results, is the mandates on 2027 that is going to tell us that. It is not for me or for someone to sit down somewhere and begin to say, oh, the game is over, this is what is going to happen, this will not happen, that will not happen. Let me tell you, politics is not just because you are in power. Politics is about candidates that are acceptable to the people. You heard in 2023 how APC lost Lagos to Labour Party. So people are beginning to be assertive. People are beginning to show their interests, aligned with their interests with who they feel they have confidence to work with. And that is where Nigerian politics is gradually going. And then some people say, oh yeah, the entire South is joining Mr. President so that we show solidarity to a Southern president and all that. It was the same Tinubu and APC that fought Goodluck. Goodluck was from the South. So what makes it different? Today we are talking about petroleum subsidy, that it has been removed. What happened? It was the same Tinubu that sponsored the protests against Goodluck. Otherwise, we would have forgotten about petroleum subsidy several years ago. But today, he is the one battling, contending with it. So these are issues of nemesis. If you are taking an action against someone before, the way God created the world, you may find yourself falling into that situation. And so, why would anybody tell me that the entire South should go and support a Southern candidate? I mean, what a fluke. Was Goodluck not a Southern candidate? Was he not the president of this country from the South? So let's not tell all these stories to placate the people. The people knows what to do when the time comes. For us in PDP, we will look for the right candidate that the people will suck into.
Just as we say goodbye, Honorable, how time flies. I want to ask you a very broad question. As someone who spent so much time since 2015 in the National Assembly and has always played opposition politics in Parliament, you're not the leader of the opposition in the House of Representatives, but what is the status of opposition in the National Assembly? We
have challenges, no doubt about it. But we are working towards sorting out the challenges.
What sort of challenges? Because the argument now is that Parliament exists as one party.
That's not true.
So what is the status of opposition in the National Assembly?
That the Parliament exists as one party is not true. The opposition is there. The opposition raises either individually or in their pockets of opposition when issues for determination that does not go well with the opposition, are brought before the floor. The opposition is there. Yes, you have challenges, no doubt about it. How are you working to sort out those
challenges?
This issue of defections, this issue of loyalty, these issues of insincerity, these issues of fears. And I keep talking to my colleagues. If you are afraid, what are you doing to overcome the fear? Who are you talking with? Politics is not just something you think that you are afraid, so you will have circle in the nest. You may run to a place you think that you'll be secured, and you will not be secured. I have told most of my colleagues that from 2015 to the last 9th Assembly, very good parliamentarians cross-carpeted, and that was the end of their journey. I remember in the 8th Assembly, there was one of our PDP members who changed party to APC. In fact, the party caucus celebrated his going. The party caucus celebrated. In fact, he was the only person that the party caucus didn't raise an eyebrow. But he has been outside till today. We are talking about. We had fantastic legislators who says, no, I'm going to APC. They went. They never came back. Some of them in the National Assembly are like houseboys to some people. And I tell them, I said, look, determine what your situation in your party should be. Because in every election, the first thing is your platform. There was a situation where I made an instance, a reference to what happened in 1991-92, where Professor Aina from Benue State said he wouldn't have contested as a senator if not to be Senate president. Interestingly, he didn't even win the ticket, not to talk about becoming a Senate president. So the first thing, wherever you belong, what are you contributing to strengthen that organization you belong? Once you are a passive member in that organization, wherever you go, you'll be passive. Because there are people who built that organization. And you just can't walk in and then people will celebrate you and give you, what is there. It never happens that way. And that is why for some of us, wherever we belong, we stand up to it. We fight for it.
Very well then, Honourable. One more question, pardon me. I want to know from you as opposition leader what the opposition thinks about the ongoing electoral reform process in the National Assembly. Do you think that the process is going in a direction that suggests that Nigerians should be hopeful of a reformed process as we enter 2027?
Well, I've always said that as opposition, we will always do our best. But you see, from experience in the previous assemblies, when you come to the point of voting, because most of the times the party in office, the APC, is threatened by transparent election. They are always threatened by transparent election. And so when it gets to that point, they will call up their members. The critical things that will bring transparency, they will knock them down. Because in passing a law, the majority will always have their
But is that not preemptive? Because I was asking about the process.
I have gone through
the process as it is now.
Let me tell you, in the last assembly, particularly in the 8th assembly, it got to a point we told President Buhari, what we want is an electoral act that will give credibility, free and fair elections to Nigerians. If you believe in that, write the electoral act. We'll pass it for you. Even at that, they were afraid of what they wrote. They were afraid of what they wrote. So when you see certain provisions, how did we give discretion to INEC? Because we got to a point where the baby and the bathwater was going to be thrown out. And we said, no. That would be colossal. We got to the point where some say, no, INEC should come back to National Assembly. How do INEC come back to National Assembly? When you are busy in your election field. You want INEC to come back, you come back to approve or not approve for INEC, no. So for us, who are ranking members, we know the journey so far. We will keep fighting to ensure that it is better than yesterday.
Honorable Alec, thank you very much for your time on Political Program. It's been a nice conversation. And I hope you had a good time here as well.
Oh, of course. Why not?
I wanted to ask you about your governorship ambition. You've been trying to be governor of Bayelsa State. Maybe this is your opportunity now that the governor has left the party and you're one of the highest ranking members. But I think we'll talk about that some other time.
No, I just want to be a senator.
you want to be a senator now?
That's what
okay, no problem.
The governor knows that. I've been, even in this last election, the governor has to prevail on both of us to say, no, let the status quo ante.
Yeah, okay.
So I honor him. He knows that I want to be a senator.
I wish you well. Yes. I wish you well. Thank you very much for your time, Honorable. Thank you. Well, I've been speaking with Honorable Fredrick Agbedi. He is the leader of the PDP caucus in the House of Representatives. If you'd like to catch this conversation all over again, please go to YouTube and search Political Paradigm or simply go to channelstv.com. Thanks for your time. I'm Terry Kumi. Goodbye.